Hello, fragrance fam. We've all heard it, right? You'd have to be crazy to wear a heavy beast mode dude fragrance in the beginning of summer. They say it's cloying, obnoxious, and a surefire way to make everyone around you miserable. So naturally, I decided to take one of the most hyped up Blue Oud and do the one thing you're never supposed to do. I wore it in the scorching summer heat to see what would happen, and the results were not what I expected at all. The fragrance community has its rules, spoken and unspoken, and maybe the biggest one is that you lock your winter beasts away until the first frost. But what if one of them was hiding a secret? What if a fragrance known for its dark, powerful Middle Eastern DNA had a completely different side that only shows up under the punishing stress of high heat? I took this bottle, Blue Oud from the Saudi Arabian house Ibrahim Al Qurashi, and walked it straight into the fire. The results were not what anyone expected. The official notes promise a wild ride. Top notes of blue lilies and oud, a heart of patchouli and leather, and a base of tobacco and amber. That doesn't exactly scream day at the beach. It sounds dark, mysterious, and powerful. And yet, people talk about its watery, floral, almost musky vibe. Some even say the opening has a cool, airy brightness. So that's the big question. Can a fragrance with this kind of heavy-hitting profile, with real-deal Cambodia nude at its core, actually work in the blistering heat? Are those blue notes strong enough to tame the beast, or is it just a marketing gimmick? In the world of fragrance, we basically live by a sensory calendar. We greet the crispness of fall with warm spices and amber. We fight the biting cold of winter with heavy artillery, thick resinous ouds, smoky tobacco, and rich, enveloping leathers. And the logic is sound. Heat amplifies fragrance. Those same scent molecules that feel cozy and sophisticated in December can become suffocating and aggressive in July. A heavy hitter with notes like tobacco, leather, and animalic oud can go from a bold statement to a throbbing headache when the sun is beating down. It's why we instinctively grab lighter, brighter stuff in the summer: citrus, aquatic notes, light florals. So let's meet the challenger, Blue Oud by Ibrahim Al Qurashi. When this fragrance was launched in 2022, it immediately started making waves. It arrives in this deep blue, heavy bottle with a metallic casing, a presentation that just screams class. But the name itself is a total paradox. Blue in perfumery almost always means something fresh, aquatic, or oceanic. Think of the most famous blue fragrances out there. They evoke sea spray and open skies. But then you get the second word, oud. Oud is the opposite of that. It's deep, dark, woody, complex, and sometimes animalic. It's the scent of ancient traditions and raw power. So what is Blue Oud? Is it fresh? Is it a heavy oud? The official note breakdown only makes the mystery deeper. The top notes are listed as oud and blue lilies. This is where the confusion starts. Blue lilies are what's known as a fantasy note, suggesting a constructed accord meant to create a feeling, in this case, a shocking sort of freshness. But it's listed right next to oud as an opening note. This isn't some fleeting scent. It's there from the very beginning. Then you get to the heart, where you find luxurious leather and earthy patchouli. These are not the notes of a summer flanker. They're rich, deep, and mysterious. And finally, the base that will stick around for hours: smoky tobacco and sparkling amber. On paper, this is a winter powerhouse, through and through. The main players are leather, patchouli, tobacco, and oud. But that blue lily note, that whisper of freshness, complicates everything. Reviewers often describe the effect not as aquatic, but as a blue ink vibe. It's a dry, woody, almost inky quality that's really unusual. It definitely leans masculine because of those heavy bass notes, but it's marketed as unisex and with a reputation for being insanely strong and long-lasting. We're talking over 24 hours on close. It seemed like the absolute worst candidate for a summer experiment. It's not a crowd pleaser. It's for a trained nose, and that's exactly why it was the perfect choice. It's a fragrance built on contradiction. Taking the cap off, the atomizer is fantastic, a generous, fine mist. The first few seconds are an absolute explosion, and it's immediately clear this is a complex scent. The first thing that hits my nose isn't a wall of oud, but this beautiful, bittersweet honey saffron note that a lot of people mention, even though it's not officially listed. It's tangled up with something watery and floral that must be the blue lily. That initial blast, it was intense. The oud hits you immediately, bold and unapologetic. It's a dry, woody oud, not the funky, barnyard type, but it is powerful. And right alongside it was that bizarre blue accord. It's not fresh like bergamot. It is, just as people described, like blue ink. There's a cool, almost mineral-like quality to it, a stark contrast to the wood's warmth. For the first 10 minutes walking out into the humid air, I thought I'd made a huge mistake. The scent was a thick, dense cloud around me. I was sure I was about to become that guy, the one who suffocates everyone in the elevator. But an hour in, something started to change. The oud's initial shock began to settle, and the heart notes started to peek through. The patchouli brought an earthy, almost minty green vibe that seemed to slice through the humidity, and the leather started warming up on my skin. And here's where the first surprise hit, instead of turning into a sticky, suffocating leather mess. The heat was actually smoothing out the edges, melting the notes together. The real test came at midday, under the full force of the sun. I was walking through the city, fully expecting the tobacco and amber in the base to bloom into a thick, syrupy disaster. But they didn't. The smokiness of the tobacco was there, but it was dry. The amber gave off a subtle, resinous warmth instead of a cloying sweetness. The most shocking part was that blue lily accord, that strange, inky floral note didn't just survive the heat. It thrived in it. It floated above the heavier bass notes, creating this phantom stream of freshness that kept the whole thing from collapsing under its own weight. It was like having a secret layer of cool hidden inside a furnace of a fragrance. I asked a friend what they thought, and their response was, "It's strong, but it smells." Expensive and clean? Definitely not what I expected. By evening, after more than 8 hours in the sweltering heat, the experiment was over. Not only was the fragrance still going strong, but it had morphed into something genuinely beautiful. The beast mode projection had calmed down, settling into a sophisticated, captivating scent that still pulsed with character, the sharp oud. An inky vibe from the opening had mellowed completely, leaving behind a stunning mix of dry tobacco, soft leather, and earthy patchouli, all wrapped in a transparent ambery warmth. It was nothing short of a masterpiece. So what happened? Why did this winter beast shine in the summer? The twist is all in that blue lily top note. It's not an aquatic note in the traditional sense. Its unique, dry, and almost mineral-like freshness acts as a perfect counterbalance. In the cold, that note is just an interesting contrast. But in the heat, it becomes the fragrance's saving grace. It actively cuts through the richness of the base, preventing the oud, leather, and tobacco from ever becoming oppressive. It basically aerates the entire composition, giving the heavy notes room to breathe. The heat and humidity didn't make it obnoxious. It forced the fragrance to reveal its complexity. It broke down the bold opening and fast-forwarded the journey to the sophisticated, smoky, leathery dry down, which is arguably the best part. It proved this isn't just some linear oud bomb. It's a dynamic scent that interacts with its environment in a fascinating way. It is, against all odds, a true unexpected masterpiece for the summer, but only for the bold. To really get Blue Oud, you have to compare it to the giants it gets mentioned with. The most common comparison is LV's Ombre Nomade. Many feel Blue Oud has a similar DNA but with a twist. Imagine Ombre Nomade, but you strip away its signature raspberry and saffron notes. Without that fruity, spicy sweetness, Blue Oud becomes drier, earthier, and arguably more masculine, thanks to a heavier dose of leather and patchouli. Where Ombre Nomade has a jammy rose, Blue Oud has that cool, inky blue lily. Some even say Blue Oud is more potent. Another fragrance it shares a lane with is Initio Oud for Greatness. Both have that powerful woody oud presence. However, Blue Oud is generally considered fresher and less sweet because it doesn't have the prominent saffron note that defines Oud for Greatness. What this proves is that Ibrahim Al Qurashi isn't just making a cheap copy. They're playing in the same league as these high-end, luxury niche brands, but offering a unique spin on a popular style. In terms of quality, many place it well above typical designer scents and even some pricier niche clones. For a fraction of the price of an Ombre Nomade, you're getting a fragrance with similar weight, incredible performance, and a unique character all its own. It's not just a good value. It's a genuinely compelling alternative. So, after taking a certified winter beast into the sweltering heat, what's the final verdict? Blue Oud by Ibrahim Al Qurashi isn't just wearable in summer. It's a revelation. It transforms from an oud monster into a sophisticated, dry, and surprisingly fresh experience. It truly is an all-year fragrance, but it remains a winter beast at its core. Here's the final report card. The scent profile gets a 9 out of 10 for its unique and complex character. Longevity is a perfect 10 out of 10. This stuff is eternal and lasts over 24 hours on skin and days on clothes. And for projection, it earns a powerful 9.5 out of 10 for its nuclear sillage that will fill a room. But this is not a recommendation for everyone. This is not a safe blind buy for your summer vacation. You have two already. Love dark, woody, even slightly animalic scents to even consider this. Now I have to ask you, what's the biggest fragrance rule you've ever broken? What winter beast have you dared to wear in the summer, and what was the result? Let me know in the comments below. I want to hear your stories of fragrance rebellion. And if you enjoyed this experiment, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next one.